Hi, I'm Rob, and this is a quiet, energy efficient DIY air purifier. I'm going to tell you a bit about it and show you how to build it. It uses 5 PC fans, the Arctic P14 PWM PST, and 4 IKEA Starkfin filters. A key feature of this design is that the filters snug into the frame without tape or adhesives, making them easy to remove and replace. The Purifier has a clean air delivery rate, or CADR, of about 227 CFM, a noise level of about 40.5 dBA, which is audible in a quiet room but easily drowned out by conversation or TV, a footprint of 19.5 by 19.5 by 11.5 inches, and power usage of about 6.5 watts. I tested the clean air delivery rate in my DIY testing chamber after verifying that my methods reproduced expected results for some commercial units I own. This clip of the purifier clearing smoke from a fog machine is sped up for effect. For a basis of comparison, I've got some other air purifiers here. All the way on the left is the Germ Guardian AC4825W. In the middle is the Levoit Core 400S, and on the right is a DIY Lasco box fan Corsi Rosenthal box. I tested the noise level, CADR, and energy usage of these units and the quiet air purifier. Looking at the sound level first, there's no surprise. The quiet air purifier is leagues ahead of all of the others. But that comparison doesn't mean a lot without considering CADR and energy usage too. Looking at CADR, it's in third, but 227 CFM is more than enough for many situations like the average bedroom or a kitchen. If you don't care about the noise level or you have a bigger space, something like a standard box fan furnace filter Corsi Rosenthal box may be a better choice. When it comes to energy usage, the quiet air purifier is far and away the most energy efficient device. The standard is to show energy usage in CADR per watt, which is what I've shown here. That 34.9 corresponds to about 6.5 watts, which is less than most energy efficient light bulbs. Hopefully these comparisons have given some context for when this device is useful. For quiet, for low energy usage, and for one device to clean the air in a bedroom or kitchen sized room, this device is quite good. These are all the required materials: the fans, the hardware, the glue sticks, the power supply, the filters, and the foam core sheets. There's a link in the description with the full bill of materials. Some optional materials that might be helpful are weather stripping for putting behind the filters to improve the seal, some tape, which can be used for gasketing the power connector and for straightening up the cables, and fan grills, which can help protect fingers and things from being caught in the fans. These are the tools I used, and if you're following along, you'll want something similar. There's a link in the description with a full list. There's a 24-inch T-square, a hot glue gun, a box cutter that has to have a sharp blade. If there's not a sharp blade, there's going to be messy cuts that'll kind of tear the paper. A pencil, and a 5/32" drill bit that I used to punch the holes for the bolts that connect the fans. Alternatively, you could use an awl or a screwdriver. Really anything that can punch a hole, you could probably make do with the bolt itself. These are some tools I recommend. One is the self-healing cutting mat, which protects your surface from the box cutter going through the foam core. The other is the compass circle cutter, which gives precise circle cutouts of exactly the set diameter. Now that you've got everything you need, it's time to go over the plan, starting with this exploded view of the design. Here you can see the parts of the frame: a top, a bottom, and 4 pairs of struts acting as supports for the top and edges for holding the filters. These graphics show how the parts are to be cut out of 2 pieces of 20 by 30 foam core board. They're the plan to follow while cutting. There's a link in the description to high quality versions of these and other graphics. Use the T-square to measure out a 495mm by 495mm square from the foam core sheet, marking with the pencil. Place the T-square on the mark to use it as a guide for the cutter. Before you make any cuts, be sure you have a fresh blade in the box cutter, or else the cuts won't be clean. On the first cut, cut only the top layer of the foam core board. Then, go over the cut a second time and cut through the bottom layer. This helps to ensure a clean cut. Cut the struts out from the remainder of the sheet. Measure 286mm from the bottom of the sheet and cut across. 286mm is the height of the struts. Measure 63.5mm from the side and cut the first strut. Measure 58.5mm from the side and cut the second strut. Measure 63.5mm from the side and cut the third strut. Measure 58.5mm from the side and cut the fourth strut. Next up is cutting the holes in the top. A template for cutting it is available on my GitHub. A copy shop can print it for you at scale. It needs to be 20.5 inches by 20.5 inches at 96 dpi. Having mine printed cost about $2.50. I've also provided a PDF that can be printed on standard letter paper and stitched together to use as a template. It's kind of a pain to do, but the option's there. Links for both are in the description. To avoid templates altogether, measure and mark the center points of each circle using the detailed measurements I've provided and use that as a reference to cut them out. That's what I used to do before I built the templates. Arctic has a single fan template that can be printed, and there's a link for that too. Their PDF is for A4 paper, so if you have letter size paper, be sure to choose actual size when printing it, or else it won't be to scale. To cut the top piece, I'm using the template and the circle cutter. First, attach the template to the top with some tape. Next, I'm using the pointy part of the circle cutter to punch a hole at the center of each circle and each bolt hole. Once the holes are punched, remove the template. To make the bolt holes, I'm using a 5 32nd inch drill bit. An awl could work in place of a drill. If you don't have either of those, then try scoring an X in the paper layer of the foam core with the box cutter, then punching the bolt through. To make the bolt holes, I'm using a 5 32nd inch drill bit. An awl could work in place of a drill. If you don't have either of those, then try scoring an X in the paper layer of the foam core with the box cutter, then punching the bolt through. Take a look at your fan. There's an arrow indicating airflow direction. Air comes out of the non-logo sticker side. Place the fan logo sticker side up on the top piece. Sorry this next bit is out of focus. I thought the camera would readjust after the close-up, but it didn't. Place all the fans, then orient them so that the cables all point toward one corner, where they will exit the box. Here, I'm using the upper left. Attach each fan using a washer, a bolt, and a nut. Once the fans are connected, daisy chain the power connectors together. Leave a female end open. The power supply uses a male connector. If you have some tape, tape the power cables to the top for a cleaner look. Now it's time to glue. Grab a long strut and a short strut. Glue them together at a 90-degree angle. The glue bead goes on the inside seam. Hold them until the glue sets, about 45 seconds. Only make 3 supports this way. The 4th is slightly different. The last support is different because it's where the power cable exits. When gluing this one, leave about 10 millimeters at the top unglued. Once the glue sets, use the box cutter to notch out a space for the power cable. It should be big enough to allow the fan connector through. Don't stress about making the notch as small as possible. If it's a little bigger, that won't affect the device performance. And if you have some tape, you can gasket the hole with the tape, or just glue it. Now it's time to glue the base to the supports. Line up a support so it's flush with both edges, and then glue it. I didn't do it here because I forgot, but it's smart to use a filter to guide where the next support will go. You can kind of smush the support into the filter a little bit and get a tighter fit that way. Now it's time to glue the top on. The only tricky thing here is to make sure to line up the fan power connectors with the notched strut. I do the first 3 of these the hard way before remembering that it's a lot easier to do this if the device is flipped over. I messed up, so you don't have to. Flip yours over to start with. Assembly is almost finished. Insert the filters and inspect the edges to see if they fit well. If you follow the tip about using a filter to guide the strut positions, fit should be very good. To check for leaks, backlight a filter and examine the edges. If light is visible around the filter, that's a leak. Here, some light can be seen around this edge. Leaks can be stopped by placing some weather stripping inside the frame behind the filter. With the filter still inside the frame, place the weather stripping flush against the filter to cover the leaky gap. No more leak. Once all the filters are installed, the build is finished. All that's left is to plug it in.